My brother-in-law, God rest his soul, when he was alive, he tenderized that meat and he'd tell you, you cut that thing with a green bean. Morning, people. Hey, I'm sitting in my shop this morning. It's a Monday, Monday before Christmas. A little cool outside. Got the wood stove fired up. Well, I lost my little thing. It's over here. Got a, I'll open this up right quick and show you. I got the fire burning in the wood stove because it's pretty cool outside. Cool by South Texas standards anyway. We went on a deer trip, hunting trip up to the deer lease this weekend. Me and son-in-law and daughter and 3 of the kids, and we went on pretty much a meat hunt, and that's what we did. We brought home meat. We got 5 deer to process today, and I want to show you not the whole processing part, but they're already quartered up and in the ice chest. Those 2 ice chests there are pretty much full of deer meat. But what I want to show you today is I'm a target on making the cutlets or the tenderized steaks, or here in South Texas we just call them chicken fried deer steaks. The kids love them. That's one of our favorite ways. We make a lot of hamburger, a lot of sausage. The sausage making is coming up later, but anyway, I'm gonna show you the process of it. I'm gonna quarter muscle out or seam out some hindquarters, because I use some of that also in the chicken fried steak. I use the sirloin tip, the bottom round, top round, and the eye round. I use all those muscles also for the chicken fried steak. And I'm gonna show you the process of tenderizing it and vacuum sealing it and how we put it up, and then later on in a future video we'll show you some cooking it and probably some of the kids eating it. But today we're going to just focus on the process of cutting up the backstrap and some of the hindquarters. I'll show you that process. And I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. If you're a YouTube watcher and you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I appreciate the subscribe. The button is right over here. Maybe it's right over here, depending on which way you look at the video. Hit that subscribe button. If you don't have a YouTube account, it's simple. This old boy figured out how to do it. I even figured out how to make a YouTube channel. I can do it. I know you can do it. Make you a YouTube page. The more people I got watching, the more it makes me want to do these videos. Also, there's a little thumbs up button down there in the bottom. Hit that little thumbs up like button. Those help me out too. So, and leave me a comment. Anything you see that you don't like or do like, let me know about it. We'll talk about it, and I'll be friendly with you, I promise you. So anyway, subscribe, like, comment, share the video. The more shares you put out there, the more views I get. And they got a whole algorithm on YouTube, and eventually one of these days down the road, maybe I'll hit that 1,000 subscriber mark, and we can share more time and more adventures together. And that's when the giveaways and all that good stuff starts. So anyway, appreciate you watching. It's you kind of people that make me keep doing this. And we're going to be making some chicken fried deer steaks, processing them anyway today. So thank you for joining us. We'll be coming up pretty quick with all that processing. All right. Whenever we quarter this deer up at our deer lease, we have a walk-in cooler. And so what we generally do is we after we harvest the deer, let's see if I said that PETA friendly. After we kill the deer, we take them to our to the skinning rack, and at the skinning rack we have a walk-in cooler, and you've probably seen some pictures on some of my previous videos of that. And then we let them hang overnight or sometimes for a couple days, and then we go in and we quarter them up. So, and then we go right before we leave to come home, we go and we take them and quarter them. And when we have quite a few of them, what we do is we separate them out in these 2 ice chests. This one here has nothing but hindquarters in it, and then this one has all the front quarters, or for stepic, all them front corners, and the back straps, and the tenderloins, and all the trim is inside that one. So it's just easier for me because I usually start on the hindquarters and get them muscled out and taken care of. So got my apron on. Kids got that for me a few years ago. Says, who are all these kids and why they expect me to feed them? And that's about how it matters. I got another sign hanging up in my kitchen, and it says it's from the I can't think of her name now. It's been so long since I watched them. The lady from the mama from Duck Commander, or from whatever that show was called, with all the Robertsons on them. And it says if you feed them, they will come. And I ain't, that's as true a statement as it ever was. So I don't see them kids for weeks, and I call them and say, hey, I'm cooking tonight, and they show up in droves, like 18 of them. So anyway, we're gonna get started on this. I'm gonna switch from this selfie stick to a headband. So I'm gonna switch the camera location. I'll be with y'all in a second. All right, I'm gonna throw a bit of a disclaimer out here. I want to tell y'all I am not, repeat, not, with a capital N and a capital O and a capital T, a professional deer processor. By no means. I've done a lot of them in my life, but I am not a professional. So don't expect that out of me. You're going to see me boning out a hindquarter, and it's probably going to be a whole lot of different and a whole lot slower than you see some of them professional on them other YouTube channels. I'm just showing you the way I do it. And I'm sitting here with my cap on backwards talking to y'all. I have my camera on my head and forgot to turn my cap back around. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that disclaimer out here. I am not a professional. You're going to see some things in there that I did wrong. Bear with me, okay? I'm going to make a chicken fried deer steak by the time this is over. All right, y'all join me. All right, what we're going to start on here is let's see if I can hit this right the first time. I'm going to cut this hock off down here at the bottom. I usually miss that joint. I'm not that great at this. Cut this hock off the bottom here. That was a pig, we'd be calling that the trotter. Or that's what some of them other people call it anyway. Get that part out of the way. We'll trim that up later. That's gonna go in the sausage or the hamburger grind. Now we're gonna come in here and we're gonna go right along this hip bone, pelvic bone, or H bone, whatever you want to call it. And we're gonna come down, get right below that bone. We're gonna stay right above the top of it. Then we're gonna come in here, get on the opposite side of the femur, and we're gonna come at one little notch there in the back. They always have trouble getting around. Get around that. Then we'll go back up here on this side and come down there. Now we just got to find that ball and socket joint in there. And I know a little bit about anatomy of this stuff. I actually work as a paramedic, made my living that way, and so I know a little bit about anatomy. And about got my finger there. I'm gonna give a shout out to my daughter Melody. She hasn't been wearing, I have her some of those butchering gloves or cutting gloves, whatever you want to call them, and cause she has a tendency to cut her fingertips a lot. So, but I generally don't wear one. My paramedic training tells me that right there is called the greater trochanter. That's the ball of the femur or the head of the femur, whatever you want to call it. So we want to cut around that and cut the tendon around that and get that off. And now we have that piece right there. We're going to trim that up in a little bit. That's going to go over into the trim pile, and then we'll start cleaning on this. I got see that knife I did not sharpen, so we'll try a different one. Like my knife sharp when I'm doing this part. Cut some of this silver off of here. We'll trim some more of it off later. It goes in the trash pile. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come down, and the femur always runs from right here, from the ball of the femur down to this point right here. So I'm just going to go in there. I'm going to make a cut. I want to hit that bone, and then I'm going to follow that bone all the way down to that joint there, and then I'm going to start working that off of there, off that femur bone around here. We'll come back down here, go over here, get that part, spin it around this way, that meat off that femur. Around the head up here, you kind of got to go a little bit more, make a circle around it. We'll get back to that one in a minute. Get down this side there, down into there. In a minute, that sucker's just gonna fall off of there. That out of the way. And then we'll flip off and get that, and pretty much got most of it. I'll trim that up a little bit more in a minute. All right, so where we're at right now, we have that ham completely muscled out. Now, we're gonna lay this out and work the muscles out. This here is the sirloin tip. You can take that. You'll see all this. I tell my kids when I'm working with them, I call all this stuff spider web, especially like when we're skinning. I'm teaching them to skin. I say, cut the spider web. So we'll go in here. We'll cut that silver off of that temporarily. Cut that one. Let me go ahead and clean that one up. This is a sirloin tip muscle here. This is one that I use when I'm making chicken fried steak. And a lot of these muscles are, this one here is a little more tougher, not as tender as some of the other ones. But when you run them through the tenderizer, it don't matter, because that tender, most pieces, especially if I cut them 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch thick, most of them I run through the tenderizer 3 times anyway. So this will go into the scrap pile for trim. And there we have the knuckle or the sirloin tip. We'll trim that up in a little bit. What I'll do is I'll also open this up right here, take this piece off. Now, if you're going to do a roast, there's your roast right there. I'm not a venison roast eater or the hindquarters, so that's just me. Don't crucify me for that one. Trim that up. That's going to go in the trim pile. When I clean these up, these little pieces here, whenever you go to slicing them later, they fall off. They separate, especially once you run them through the tenderizer. So I usually cut these little muscles right here off and out of the way, and we'll trim that up some more later when we go to cut that tip off. That all goes into the grind pile, and cut that off. Now the rest of this will just about turn into chicken fried steak, so it goes in that pan. Back to our big chunk. In here there's a gland. Make sure in all this white stuff right here, veins and tendons, leaders, whatever all this stuff is called, they didn't teach me that part in paramedic class. There's a gland down inside there. You want to make sure you get that gland out of there. It's right inside there is where that gland is at, right there. And make sure you get that out, but be gentle with it. That's your eye of round right below it. Cut that out. There's that little gland right there that I'm talking about. That goes in the trash pile. So we get here. Let's cut this. Cut the spider web out of the way. Keep trimming that down till you get to where you see the separation in there, and then cut that. And here we have top around. Now top around, and that's a good cut right there. Another roast if you want to make roast. It has a layer on top of it. Let me show you that one. Get it separated out. And I don't know what that muscle's called. I can't even get to it. There it is. I don't know what this thing's called. It's called the blanket for the top round. How about that? We're going to cut this one out, get it out of the way, because once again that will separate once you start slicing for the chicken fried steak, and then you just got a piece dangling there, and you really don't need that on there. So we'll cut it out of the way too. Now, for all you smarty pants out there who know more than I do, which is probably a bunch of you, there's a muscle. I'm gonna cut this piece off here too. I didn't miss it. I just always separate that out and get that off of there. That gets all your silver off that too. Trim that up some more later. Now, I want to ask y'all a question here, because I don't know the answer to this, and I didn't YouTube it or Google it and look it up. But on this top round right here, this little piece right here, I always tell my kids, this is the heart of the hind quarter, because once you separate it off, it's a separate little muscle from the top round right here. Because you can see the spider web in there, so it's not the same muscle. Somebody tell me in my comments down there, what this muscle here that I'm cutting out right now, somebody tell me what that one's called. The reason I asked that is because that is one tender little sucker. I actually make chicken fried steak out of that little one right there too. But that sucker is as tender or more tender than the tenderloin is. So if you know, it came from right here. So if you know the name of that off the top round, let me know down there, because that way next time I do a video I can tell people, oh, and I keep that one too, but I don't know the name of it. So there's top round. Trim it up, clean it up. Hamburger, 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 and that one's ready to go in the pot for the chicken fried steak trimmings. All right, now back to our big chunk. We ain't got much of a big chunk left. This is eye of round and bottom round is all we have left. And that eye of round, that's a tender little sucker too. You can take that and do a lot of things with it, a lot of other stuff, if you're not all into the chicken fried steak and the hamburger and all that, because that's a handy little cut. You go to the grocery market or the supermarket or meat market and you buy eye of round off beef, they're pretty proud of it. It's a pretty expensive little cut. They sell they'll cross cut it here and sell that as I guess for chicken fried steaks at the grocery store. I don't know, I don't buy them. So there it is, eye of round right there, very tender. What I'll do later, you'll see when I start, I cut it this way, I cross cut it this way and run it through the tenderizer and make chicken fried steak out of that too. Now the bottom round. This one here is, I cut this piece off for grind, and I kind of got a bad cut in the top end there, so I'm gonna cut that off for grind. And then this silver right here, and my knife, I need to sharpen it, but I'm not gonna take the opportunity. I slice this little piece of silver off right here too. Get that out of the way. That can go, I'll fillet it off there. I'll go ahead and do that. Somebody say, he wasted that piece of meat. No, I didn't. I'll just fillet it off there and put it in the grind. See that? That's how you get rid of the silver right there. So anyway, there it is, the bottom round. You can fillet that silver off there just like I did that other one. And I got bottom round, top round, eye of round. The one that I don't know what it's called, I call it the heart. And you got your knuckle or your sirloin tip there. Those are the ones that will go into chicken fried steak that I'll cut up. You can use each one of them for a roast. You can do whatever you want. That's how I quarter out or muscle out the hindquarters. So go ahead and I'm gonna put these in the cooler. See that big Coke cooler right there? I guess I got my camera angle right. It rattles and clatters a lot. That noise you hear in the background is the compressor running on it. But I've had that thing for about 10 or 15 years and I didn't pay but $150 for it when I got it. And it'll drop temperature from 80 degrees to 32 degrees or 34 degrees is what I got it set on in about 20 minutes. It's a wonderful investment. So anyway, I put all this in there to keep it cold until I get ready to start slicing. So there, that's my muscling out the hindquarter. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get some more done and I'll get the back straps out later and I'll show you how I clean them up. And then we'll show you the slicing and the tenderizing part later. Here comes the help now. They show up 2 hours late. Y'all bring lunch?
Oh, man.
I got these two. They do all the shooting and they show up at lunchtime to help clean.
It's 9:30.
Okay, 9:30. Where's the tacos?
Look how cute!
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's look at the. This is what I have to put up with for family. That's a Christmas card.
You bred that one.
All right, now I got help here. We're gonna get after it. We got 4.5 deer left to do.
You got food on your face.
Oh.
You're dummy.
Okay, there. Now the food's gone. We got 4.5 deer left to do. We're gonna get after it now that I got help here. I already got started this morning.
I don't know why you ain't finished.
Yeah,
Do what?
we want me to grab something?
No, I'll get. Okay, we got I got the crew here. That's why I'm sitting here. Yeah, they showed up. Hannah on the lunch hour. Frank's still over there doing nothing. We got the back straps. There's a handful of back straps and some muscle in there. We got the rest of the meat boned out. We're gonna go ahead and start. No, come grab that pan for me. I'll put her to work and I'll video her. We'll get this pan of back straps and I got some of the hindquarter in that one also. And we're going to, I'm gonna start slicing those. I'm gonna put this camera on my head here in a second, so I'm gonna switch angles. And we're gonna start slicing these. We'll run them through. I use the Cabela's. Man, it's a 1 3/4 horsepower motor on that thing. The grinder attachment that goes, not grinder, the tenderizer attachment that goes on it. We'll tenderize these and then I'll show you what we'll do Choopy down there on the end. His job is to get him in the freezer. So, and I'll explain that why. So I'm going to change camera angles here right quick, and we'll get back with you cutting up some meat. All right, there's two different ways you can cut on these. I start out, I usually take this cut right here and I cut at an angle, and then I'm going to eventually, I'll get down to that silver skin and I just fillet it just like you would do a fish fillet off of there, and keeping that angle on there, all it does is just makes them just a little bit bigger. And as I cut these, I know I'm cutting them with the grain, but they're going through the tenderizer, so they'll be tenderized and done. So we'll cut these back straps like this. The other way you can do them, I'll show you right quick, is you can take the whole back strap. Need to move this down just a little bit. Take this whole back strap, and the ribeye end of it right here really ain't that big of a deal because those are small. You can fillet the whole thing off just like you would do a, oh, I missed it. Made that, woo, I made that one real bad. Let's don't look at that one. We're gonna edit that out.
You need me to show you how to do that?
No, I don't need you to show me how to do it. We're gonna get this one. We're gonna try this one. That last one didn't come out very good. We're gonna go down here, and I got to get this closer to me. We're kind of crowded on our workspace today. I didn't clean the shop up. Go down here.
Somebody's slow.
Somebody ain't gonna eat.
But I know where the freezer's at.
Anyway, you can, I messed that one up too. We're not gonna show that part. All that gets edited out. So back to slicing. I can't believe I messed up 2 in a row like that.
I'll wait till you get like a little stack of them.
All right, so that's how the back straps are going to come out. I want to show you here. Let me hop over around you, Hannah. Right here, what goes on with this. In here, what we do is we drop each piece through 3 times, and I'll get behind again and get fussed at here because I quit cutting. Each piece will go through the tenderizer 3 times, and then we take this freezer paper and we'll stack it on to the freezer paper. The cardboard is just for support while it goes in the freezer. Then we'll put it in the freezer and let it sit like that for about 30 minutes or so, and it'll partially freeze. And the main purpose of that is, y'all don't laugh at the freezer project here, but it's full of meat. We'll just set it up on top like this right here, and it will, as it freezes in there, it vacuum seals a whole lot better. So that's the purpose of doing that. We'll let them all sit in the freezer probably for about, like I said, a good 30-35 minutes, and then we'll take them out and we'll vacuum seal them. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and keep cutting up back straps so I don't get fussed at anymore because I got behind. And by that one. This one right here is being all quiet for a reason. So anyway, we'll be back in a minute. Yeah, she said, 'cause Dad told me to hush. They were telling stories while I was trying to make video.
About pictures.
About Christmas pictures. All right, we got all the back strap cut up and put up in the freezer. And I'm gonna start on these muscles that I showed you earlier, how I seamed out that hind quarter. I just pick one of these, and I'm not able to get the entire thing in there, but I just cut them down, ½ inch thick or so. And we get what we can out of them. And then I'll cut, this is the sirloin tip or the knuckle muscle that I'm cutting here. Cross cutting it against the grain. And then this here just go into trim. And that'll go into chicken fried steak. This here is the top round. Start on this end. It's pretty cleaned up there. A little silver there, that ain't gonna hurt that tenderizer and knock it down. If you're gonna make jerky, this is probably one of the best muscles to make jerky out of right here. If you're gonna make it that way, you use hindquarters. You seam them out like this, you just visualize that as really make some nice jerky. Cut across the grain with it. So anyway, this is the top round will get cut up. And I'll cut that one kind of thin. That one will probably, a lot of times on these muscles like this, when I cut them this thin, they'll only go through the tenderizer twice. That was your hint.
I heard you. I looked at you and was like, oops.
Yeah, because You,
My bad.
you drop them that third time, they kind of have a tendency to want to fall apart. My brother-in-law, God rest his soul, when he was alive, he tenderized that meat and he'd tell you, you cut that thing with a green bean. All right, this is that last little muscle right here I was talking about, hoping to find the name of it, the one that I call the heart of the hind quarter. And I just cut this one into some long strips like this and run it through the tenderizer. I know it's cut with the grain, not against the grain, but that tenderizer will take care of that. Plus, it's real tender already to start out. So that one goes in the chicken fried steak. And then this here is the eye of round. I cut it there. I cut it there. And I cut it there. So I'll get 6 little steaks cut out of each piece out of each one of these eye of round muscles. That one and this one's only gonna make 2 pieces because it's a little thinner on this end. So there we have all our chicken fried steak cut up and just about tenderized and put in the freezer. My beautiful wife has come out and joined us for a minute. Hi, honey.
Hi, honey.
And so anyway, and then we got left here the pile of tenderloins. I got to put them up. We'll just vacuum seal them all separate. And we're pretty much done. Got the scrap there. I'll show you in a little bit when we get to the point. We're going to vacuum seal all the other meat, and then when these tenderized cutlets, when they get frozen a little bit, we'll pull them out and I'll show you vacuum sealing them and putting them up. So we'll be back on in just a little bit. All right, we're almost forgot the video. We're about to the point. Here's what, let me show you right quick. Here's where we're at. We're taking this is a tray or the deal out of the freezer, and we're putting it, and I ran out of the right size vacuum bags. I got to get on the website and get ordering. We put them in the vacuum seal bags. They're about half frozen, and then we go to the vac master and the vacuum sealing them. I got a lot of glare on that lid. Let's do it this way. And there we go. They come out like that, and then they go into this pile here, and that's what we end up with. We end up with this real thin. You see how thin that is? But they're tenderized, vacuum sealed. You take this package here and throw it into a sink of water once it's frozen, and that thing will thaw out real quick. And they're ready to go. We're ready to make some chicken fried deer steaks out of. I'll head over here. This freezer here is where we've been storing them at so far this year. You'll see that whole section there is all chicken fried deer steak and all of that. And there's some pork chops right here in front, some hamburger meat. There's hamburger meat there. With all them back there and all that right there and all that in there. That's deliciousness. So anyway, there you have it. That's how we do it. That's how we process our cutlets or tenderized steaks or chicken fried deer steaks, whatever you want to refer to them as. And we have plenty of them this year. Thank y'all for watching. Remember to subscribe. The button's right down there. This button's right down there, and we can use it all. Thank you very much. Y'all have a good day.